This episode of Conversations with Glen Taylor looks at a long negotiation process with 3M and a product everyone is familiar with, the Post-it note. Taylor's ingenuity to be able to solve this production process, Brad's persistence, and an exclusive agreement led to a very successful startup in partnership with 3M. The Quality Note printer's name would eventually be changed to 3M Promotional Markets, and the business has been providing Post-it notes and many other products to the market ever since.
I went back and really counted, and I think I counted that we had at least, that to best of my recollection, almost 30 startups during the 40 years I was there. One of the biggest ones was the, we started as Quality Note printers, but it was a Post-it note division.
That goes way back to when I served in the Senate. And I was one of only 2 state senators that were qualified as businessmen. So when 3M developed Post-it notes, I had already been invited over to meet with the CEO a number of times to help them with legislation that they needed to get through the Minnesota Senate and House, and took on that responsibility and did a good job for them. So they knew me. So when the Post-it note was developed and we read about it, it occurred to a number of us that this was stationary. So through my contacts, made contacts with people over at 3M, could we get that paper and print on it?
I don't remember when I wrote the letter, but a few months later, I thought it was a dead deal. Somebody called me up from the Commercial Office Supply Division and said, we'd like to come down and talk. And those talks went on, I would guess, somewhere between 18 months to 2 years. And this is, we learned later, typical 3M. They must have made 30 trips. And at one point I recall, this was when we were still officing in the Carlson Craft building, and Glen called me into his office, and we'd always go over different things, but he said, well, I think you should just stop doing this. I don't think anything's going to ever come out of it. I think it might be a waste of our time. And I said, well, Glen, I'm just not sure. Okay, he gave me a green light, and everything doesn't always work out, but that worked out to be one of our better startups.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about Brad is that I always saw Brad as really sales. He loved sales. He was good at sales. He really pushed sales, and he understood that. I probably was a little bit more into leadership and operations and things like this there. But I think it helped us to be a really good team. It didn't make us that we had to agree on everything. We knew where we wanted to go. That was never in question. We were going to grow the company. We were going to be more profitable. We were going to try some really hard things. And he would have his idea. And I think he looked at it a little bit more what the customer wanted, because he was in sales. He was out there with the customers. I probably was a little bit more in operations, what we could do with what we had and stuff like this here. I don't know that you'd ever say we argued, but we surely had difference of opinion and tried to win a conversation with each other. And but I think it helped us to come up with that middle of the road, which was probably a really good result. And we put it in force, and it normally worked. I think what we both knew, that even if it didn't work exactly, both of us were willing to adjust it as we went along.
You've got 2 best-of-class companies really in the world. 3M is known for its innovation worldwide, coming up with unbelievably new and special products. What a lot of people don't know, they also are amazing at process control, so repeatable processes to always get quality all the time. Taylor Corporation really was known for quick turns, customization, getting order quantities down, getting everything shipped when you said it was going to get shipped, and with quality, without errors. So you put those 2 together. 3M was very good at making a million of something the same way, but they did not have the capability of being able to produce 100 of something.
3M initially thought they would do a lot of little orders. They contracted with us, and we agreed upon a per pad price, to do these Post-it notes, print them. And there was a little trick to it because it's an adhesive product that's running off of a line, and the printing gets a little bit tricky, but Charlie had figured out how to do it.
I found out that 3M went ahead and tried to print on it and really couldn't figure it out. They then called us back and asked us about printing on it. I asked if we could have a contract that gave us exclusive. At that point, they said, well, we don't know how you're going to print on it, but okay, we'll give you exclusive. The exclusive was for United States. At that, we got it signed. They, at some point, then asked us, after it was signed, how we were going to print on it.
The plane business was growing so fast at the time, worldwide. How, if we could print on it, just think what we could do if we could print on them. And so there was this strong motivation to, we're not going to let the impossible keep us from doing this. So how do we work together to figure it out? You had to have a unique type of press. You had to have unique chemistries and inks because you were printing on a substrate that didn't like ink. So to get ink to stick on something that doesn't, where it doesn't stick. Be able to, after you print it, be able to put it in a position so that later when the customer looks at it, the copy doesn't look like a Disney cartoon running back and forth, but it's perfectly straight all the time. Those kinds of issues were huge engineering projects that we worked on together.
We set up a company called Quality Note Printers that was owned half and half between 3M and us. And then what we called our printing division was Precision Press. And Precision Press, you know, we all had to be a little creative. We didn't know what to name it. So I looked in the dictionary under press, and then I looked under P's until I saw precision. And I thought, hey, that'll be a good name for this division. So that's what we call it internally. And that was the division that would charge Quality Note Printing for the printing and invoicing and processing. And then 3M would charge Quality Note Printers for the paper. And what happened was, as I said, 3M thought they were going to get a lot of little orders, and it ended up being a lot of big orders because they would sell these Post-it notes to the pharmacy companies. And that was back when pharmacy companies could give things away, and so they would give away the Post-it notes, the printed Post-it notes, under whoever the doctor or whoever the pharmacy was, and they thought that they'd get average orders of, you know, like 100 pads, and we were getting orders of 20,000 pads. So it went really, really well.
Eventually, 3M Corporation decided that, yeah, this is working pretty good, and they honored us with some of the top honors a 3M business can get. And we got the Golden Step Award one year, which is, it's a big deal. And I was very proud of that. And again, I had a team of my own team here, and then the people I got to work with at 3M were like an Eldon Hill and a Chuck Harstead and Bob Melinda, and people that were just, you don't find better people to work with than what we had, and together that made us the best. And I think that summed up 3M as being the best company in the world at what they do, and Taylor Corporation being the best at what they do. And I was proud to know that we were the best at what we were able to do.
3M was a good company to be with. They're tough. They're tough negotiators as well, but it was a good startup.